The much-publicized Naga Peace Talks that came to a standstill in 2020 is back on track, with R.N. Ravi's exit from Nagaland and arrival of Akshay Kumar Mishra as the new interim interlocutor. The derailed peace talks are believed on track. But will the pursuit for peace end anytime soon? Well, it's been more than decades that an acceptable permanent solution has eluded the Naga peace process. When, in 2015, the historic Naga Framework Agreement was signed between Government of India and NSCN IM, it was believed that the prolonged Naga political turmoil will finally head towards an amicable conclusion, with peace being restored in the insurgency-hit state. But a fallout between NSCN IM and then Nagaland governor and interlocutor to peace talks R.N. Ravi pushed the dialogues into uncertainty. In this special presentation, let's find the story, tell you about the quest for peace that is not short of a dream for the people of Nagaland.
And while his death is a major blow to the NSCN case,
there's an accord that has been signed with NSCN IM.
Army killed a significant number of NSCN Kaplang extremists.
We have our own flag, we have our own constitution. If it is not recognized, then revolution continues.
It would be interesting to see the recent turn of events as the Union Government of India seems very keen on resolving the issue that can bring peace to the state of Nagaland. The Government of India has asked Assam CM and NEDA Convenor Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma to act as troubleshooter to bring peace talks back on track. The Bharatiya Janata Party's Northeast strategist Sharma will try and break the deadlock with NSCN IM over its two demands. A separate Naga Flag and Constitution set the ground for concluding the 24 years old peace process with a permanent solution. Nagaland Chief Minister Neifu Rio have also been asked to attend the meeting along with AK Mishra, the former Special Director of Intelligence Bureau and Naga Peace Talk interlocutor. The recent talks is set continue under the 2015 Framework Agreement that was signed by the Centre and National Socialist Council of NSCN IM for paving way to a final solution. Ahead of Assam Chief Minister's meeting with the insurgent group, peace talk between the NSCN IM and Centre resumed on Monday after a long gap of almost 2 years, with AK Mishra meeting the rebel outfit General Secretary Thuingaleng Muivah in Chumukedima Police Complex in Dimapur. After the meeting, the NSCN IM's collective leadership member R.H. Raising clearly stated that any solution to the Naga issue is meaningless without the sacred Naga flag and constitution, and the revolution will continue.
There is no separate flag and constitution. We have our own flag, we have our own constitution to be recognized. If it is not recognized, then revolution continue.
Meanwhile, NSCN-K Nikki Sumi faction has also signed an one-year pact with the Government of India very recently. With AK Mishra on board as the new interim interlocutor, General Nikki Sumi also opined that the faction has high hopes on coming to a permanent solution.
Inclusive one solution kosha tati stan korigena tinta entity ke bhi kobo parebo lagibo government of India ke bhi to kobo parebo hole people's laga pressure upor private solution jaldi ai bole be ekta thakse aro itu no hoy kole government of India private ekhan sincere pra inclusive one solution kosha itu step loi deshe kole bishi jaldi aibo no hole government of India pra he olop delay tactics khelishe kole to ami itu to
The peace talks stalled last year after the Naga rebel group alleged the then Nagaland governor R.N. Ravi for creating unnecessary confusion and circulating a doctored version of the 2015 framework version, which was signed in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This incident almost derailed the peace process, as the misunderstanding between NSCN IM and Centre widened due to R.N. Ravi's alleged unnecessary confusion. Home Minister Amit Shah deputed Himanta Biswa Sarma and Nagaland Chief Minister Neifu Rio to meet Muivah to understand their grievances and build a political way forward with the leadership of Naga talks. The history of Naga struggle. The Naga Hills became a part of the British India in 1881. In an effort to bring all the scattered Naga tribes together, the Naga Club was formed in 1918 to arouse a sense of Naga nationalism. It was then transformed into Naga National Council in 1946 under the leadership of Angami Zapu Fizo. The council under his leadership declared Nagaland as an independent state on August 14, as Fizo also formed Naga Federal Government and the Naga Federal Army in 1952, which Indian government sought to crush it by sending in army and enacting the Armed Forces Special Power Act. In 1975, in an effort to bring insurgents into table, a peace accord called Shillong Accord was signed between the government and NNC, and the council promised to give up arms. However, several leaders including Isak Chishi Swu, Thuingaleng Muivah and SS Khaplang refused the government and formed the National Socialist Council of Nagaland in 1980. Later in 1988, after a violent clash, NSCN split into NSCN IM and NSCN K. While NNC faded away in history, NSCN IM became the prominent group in the region. Peace initiatives. The peace process between the central government and the Naga extremist groups has been delaying for more than 23 years. Over the 2 decades, several efforts were made to bring peace. Shillong Accord. A peace accord was signed in 1975 at Shillong, in which NNC leadership agreed to give up arms. Ceasefire Agreement. In 1997, the NSCN IM faction signed a ceasefire agreement with the Government of India, putting a stop to counterattacks by both NSCN IM faction and Indian Army. The NSCN K faction also signed ceasefire agreement with the government, which they later revoked in 2015. Apart from NSCN IM, the center is also holding talks with several other groups which come together under the banner of Naga national political groups. It only seems fair that center must negotiate with all the factions and groups to have a long-lasting peace. Moreover, the cultural, historical and territorial extent must also be taken into consideration. Any arrangement or decision should lead to social and political harmony, economic prosperity and protection of all tribes and citizens of the state. Greater autonomy for the Naga inhabited areas in these states can be provided, which would encompass separate budget allocations for the Naga inhabited areas with regard to their culture and development issues. Moreover, the center must keep in mind that most of the armed insurgencies across the world do not end in either total victory or comprehensive defeat, but in a grey zone called compromise. News Desk, Nagaland TV.